Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 23 Driver Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day, and today the final Grand Prix of the season finale, and the farewell Fernando episode here. I hope you're all having a great day. We saw a heartbreaking end to the championship battle last episode between Alonso and Hamilton, where Alonso had an engine failure. So really unfortunate ending there as we were coming into this weekend in Abu Dhabi. Nothing to lose for anybody. Now we have some drivers losing their rides at the end of Season 2. You can see right there, Zhou Guanyu, Nick De Vries, Magnussen, Alonso retiring, Stroll, high speculation. And there could be another potential change or two on the way, and there's also going to be drivers moving teams and whatnot, and I'm hearing rumors that we're going to see potentially up to 5 rookies on the grid next season, which would be quite huge of a number in Formula 1 now as we were ready to get this final weekend of the season. We already know we're coming back to Aston Martin next season. We're also leaving the Mercedes partnership, going to be on board with Honda for our engine supplier a year earlier than expected due to all of the fallout from the Mercedes engine failures that we've had recently. But with the Honda partnership, we have got confirmation that Yuki Tsunoda, my teammate in Season 1 at AlphaTauri, he's coming back to be teammates with me, this time with Aston Martin, so I'm looking forward to that here, behind Zhou Guanyu here in practice, and what will likely be his final Grand Prix in Formula 1. Lance Stroll, like I said, he's a highly speculated one that's going to be out because he has had a miserable season, against Tsunoda. Tsunoda's beat him just about like every Grand Prix so far. We now come in through to Saturday night under the lights here for qualifying. Now, important to note, I have changed every single engine part. I decided to bring us a whole new engine for this weekend. That means no matter what we do, even if we qualify pole, we will be starting from the back of the grid here in Abu Dhabi. So Q1, we would make it through, not by a lot. You can see P14 on the grid, but De Vries, Bottas, Stroll, Tsunoda, Logan, Sargent all out here in Q number 1. So we focus in on Q2, and it was a mediocre lap here, and we cross the line. It only goes P9, and we would drop out of the top 10 very quickly, and now our back against the wall. Obviously, it doesn't matter what we do, like I said here in qualifying, but had a really sloppy turn 1, and then the hairpin, even worse. I end up giving up 0.4 of a second in the first part of the lap, and I would stay dead even for the rest of the lap. I ran a decent rest of the lap, but down to P11 now, and we actually gained quite a bit of time right here in the final couple of corners, all the way under 0.2 of a second, but we cross the stripe, and it's not enough. P11 is where we qualify. We'll be starting from the back of the grid. Albon with a 5-place grid penalty for blocking. That's been a common occurrence here lately in this Season 2 of the career mode. Final race on the way. We have a special segment in the pre-show for Alonso. Make sure to watch it.
Welcome to the Yas Marina circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula 1 season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The drivers will be racing here at the Yas Marina circuit through 16 corners and a lap distance of around 3.28 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, so plenty of close racing, then plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps ahead. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc, Russell, Magnussen, Zhou, De Vries, Bottas, Albon, Stroll, Tsunoda, Ocon, Sargent, and Golden Boy. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
An icon of not just Formula 1, but motorsports in general. Fernando Alonso sets sights on his final Grand Prix tonight under the lights. Over 30 wins to end his career, a 2-time world champion who faces the harsh ups and downs that Formula 1 has to offer. Alonso never backed down and always proved he can be a winner right to the very end. Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you, Fernando. I will never forget battling with you. Enjoy the next chapter.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Okay, Fernando, thank you for everything with this team over the last few years. You've set us up well for the future and we can never repay you enough for it.
Thank you, Lawrence. Let's have fun tonight.
So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong.
All right, guys, we've got some work to do. Just wanted to say, all the best to Fernando in departing from Formula One at the end of the season, and I hope he has a good night.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Thank you, Fernando.
Let me know what you thought of the little pre-race segment for Alonso. We as well heard other drivers saying the thank you, Fernando, and now we are ready to roll from the back of the grid. Alonso up there in the top 5. What can he do? Verstappen up there in the mix. Don't rule him out. He's winless on this season. Could he maybe come and get a win in the final episode of the season? Let's find out as it's going to be. Lights out. We're underway for the season finale of Season 2 in Abu Dhabi. Immediately to the left side of Ocon is a decent start. We only gained a few spots into turn 1. There it is. Verstappen to the lead into turn 1. Lewis Hamilton, of course, an 8-time world champion officially now. He was able to clinch the title after Alonso's engine failure in the last episode there in Portugal. Of course, Aston Martin announced going into the Grand Prix that we were leaving the Mercedes partnership, going to Honda, and then the same episode the Mercedes engine fails, taking Alonso's chances of beating Hamilton for the title away. A bit suspicious, but we decided as a team to just move on as a whole and not raise any speculation or cause any chaos here, and let's just get the season over with and move into this Honda partnership for Season 3. Hamilton, Verstappen, side by side through the chicane. They've battled in Abu Dhabi before. It was a few seasons ago at this point, back in 2021, and we all remember, of course, how that ended there, but Hamilton now has got that 8th world title here in Formula 1 as they continue side by side all over the place. Hamilton and Verstappen still wheel to wheel, but Hamilton finally gets it back, so Verstappen may have taken the lead through turn 1, but he ends up losing it overall here now as well. You got battles everywhere. There's Carlos Sainz, his teammate of Leclerc, just behind him, as you can see Sainz trying to go around the outside of his good friend of Lando Norris, but Norris will hopefully, no, hold on, they continue wheel to wheel, and it's going to be Sainz getting it. So Carlos Sainz takes the position here. Sainz just winning the Singapore Grand Prix in real life. He's my second in line to Zhou Guanyu, so it's always nice to see him pick up the victory. Now to the back of Yuki Tsunoda, down into the hairpin, trying to go around the outside. Doesn't work. We're going to try the switchback. Contact with Stroll. We've crashed on just lap 2 of this Grand Prix, and I had no idea right here. Watch this. I tried to do the switchback, and Stroll rightfully is going for the hole that's there. I didn't realize that he was filling that, and I just turned across his nose. We're going to get a 5-second time penalty for that collision, rightfully so. I would say a rookie error that I just made right there, so now it's about playing catch-up, unfortunately, here. We have really good pace in this car, brand new engine in this car. We should be able to move forward pretty well, but points is going to be, I would say we need a safety car to get points here today now in Abu Dhabi, so it's not going to be the season finale that we are hoping for. I had the red proximity arrow from Stroll's car come up. I didn't even realize he was actually there on my left side, so it was all my fault. Nonetheless, we were flying. It's not going to be long till we catch De Vries. We would be all over him here momentarily. Battle for the lead up front. Verstappen with the DRS. This is now lap 8, just sweeping past Hamilton into the chicane, so it takes a spot back. And as you can see here, coming to lap 9, I'm going to be able to roll past the outside of De Vries in his final Grand Prix already. Alfa Romeo Haas have decided to move on, and we know Kevin Magnussen is joining Alonso in retiring, so Alfa Romeo Haas will have a whole new lineup for next season. We also know, AlphaTauri's rebranding to Connor Sport, and as well we have BMW coming in, replacing Sauber. A lot of interesting things on the way. Battle for the lead again. Hamilton going for the overtake again on Verstappen. He's going to be successful in that overtaking opportunity. Coming to the end of lap 10, I decide we're going to come into the pits early, quite a bit early, about 4 laps early, because of that 5-second penalty. I want to be able to spend those 4 extra laps making up the time for this 5-second hold we have to do right here before they can take the mediums tires off and throw the hards on. So we're going to make up all the time. That will mean we're going to be slower, of course, when the other drivers make their pit stop, but I'm hoping that the long-term pace right at the end of the Grand Prix, our Aston Martin's just going to be able to overpower them, but we will definitely struggle in the first bit once they come out of the pits in front of us here now. So we'll focus on just putting in banger laps. The gap to Sargent was 27 seconds when I exited the pit lane. We were just behind him, of course, when we pitted. It was now down to 23 on lap 12, coming down into the 22, 21 second range. We were absolutely flying. We already know we will definitely be ahead of Sargent, probably ahead of Zhou, maybe right around Alex Albon, as Verstappen and Hamilton are going to pit together. Verstappen actually got back in front of Hamilton coming to lap 15 into this pit stop cycle. Everybody headed into the pits now at this point, basically over the next lap or two. Verstappen exits as well in front of Hamilton. How long will he stay ahead, though? That's the question here. Leclerc in as well, Lando Norris as well for the hards in the McLaren. So we continue on, and here's where we end up cycling through. Behind Alex Albon, ahead of Valtteri Bottas, Ocon, and we have a nice DRS run on Albon. As that's happening, Fernando Alonso, let's pay attention, his final pit stop of his Formula 1 career, and it's going to go from the mediums to the hards. It's going to be an overall solid stop. Alonso is away, and hopefully his final pit stop, as long as there's no issues. So we got the pass on in Albon, but literally lap 16, the next lap, he would just sweep past me. And I told you guys, you know, I was going to struggle on the opening part of this run for these guys having these brand new fresh tires, while mine are about 4 laps old at this point. And my goal is simple. We're just going to hang on to Albon and take any opportunity we can get. And we know late in the race that this Aston Martin pace should pick up. Wheel to wheel, Albon is, after he runs down the soon-to-be retiring Kevin Magnussen here. And this is a great opportunity for myself to get them both here now. To the left of Albon, to the left of Magnussen. We're going to split them 3 wide. Albon around the outside. We continue down towards the hairpin. Still wheel to wheel with Albon, but we're going to get the job done. Alex Albon is rumored to be leaving Williams finally, as he has done an exceptional job, in my opinion, well worthy of getting a opportunity with a car that can compete for podiums, compete for wins. Now, we're going to go through the grid, and I heard Ted Kravitz actually had some insight on where Albon might end up for next season.
Our final through the grid for 2024 here in Abu Dhabi. Hamilton back out in front, but Verstappen chasing him in what's been his best Grand Prix so far this year.
We have also got confirmation that Max has decided to return to Red Bull next season, so that takes Owen out of the equation, which was expected. A lot of driver changes coming next season. I also hear that Ted may have some insight on some of these changes.
Yeah, guys, I've been hearing that Alex Albon might be headed to McLaren alongside Lando Norris for next year, with Piastri headed to Williams likely. I am also hearing the new Connor Sport team is set to bring on 2 Formula 2 stars of Aiden Jackson and the CEO's son, Devon Butler. Those two have a bit of a rough history in F2, so I will be curious to see how they get along, if of course the rumours are true.
Alex Albon finally at a top ride again would be lovely to see.
I agree, Crofty. He's earned it over the last 2 seasons, for sure.
All right, there you have the final through the grid here with 10 laps remaining in Abu Dhabi. You heard a bit of insight, rumors, potential driver market changes on the way. Lance Stroll riding all by himself here in what could be his last Grand Prix in Formula 1 for the foreseeable future, as Zhou Guanyu, in his final Grand Prix for the Sauber team, has a mechanical failure. He is unfortunately out at lap 22. Here comes Alex Albon, who would run me back down, and still a lot of pace in that Williams, so he breezes past me. Back down to P12 we go, and battle for the lead heating up again. Here goes Max Verstappen. Not a lot of room on the left side of the circuit. Hamilton covered it off well, but Verstappen found the hole. He took it. Back to the lead he goes. Perez chasing behind in 3rd place, and the battle between myself and Albon would continue on. I had finally felt like just within about a lap after getting past it, the pace in this car was there to a point where we could run away if we could get past Albon. So we complete the pass around the outside into the hairpin, and now hopefully we can just focus on extending this gap between himself and I. And sure enough, that would happen. Lap 24, now putting over a second between myself and Albon, and the gap would just continue to grow from this point on. And the gap to Gasly in P10, who's had a very solid last half of the season with Alpine, well, that gap was getting smaller. Now 2 seconds between myself and Albon. We were flying late in this Grand Prix. There's not going to be enough time, unfortunately, with no safety car to help us here today in Abu Dhabi under the lights, unfortunately now. So it is what it is. The battle up front continues on. As you can see, Hamilton under attack from Perez, Verstappen running away. Verstappen winless this season. After winning 3 consecutive world titles, he has not found a way to go to the top step of the podium. Perez and Red Bull went to the top step in Miami, but that was it. But now they're looking for a 1-2. What a day that would be. Here comes Russell Hamilton fading late in the Grand Prix. Alonso just kind of riding and having a good time in 5th. What a send around the outside from George Russell here. He might get the position. Him and Perez would continue side by side through the whole final sector, and they would come around through the final couple of corners, and they would finally get it sorted. Russell takes P2 over Perez now, and it would not be over. Literally, just a few moments later on the long back straightaway, Perez cruising back past, and it makes it a Red Bull 1-2 as we come through to start the final lap of the season here in Abu Dhabi. What a season it has been. The ups and downs. We are a 3-time winner in Formula 1 now. After season 1, we had no wins in our Formula 1 career. Of course, we were with the AlphaTauri team the whole season. We, however, then made the move to Aston Martin after impressing, and of course Stroll lost his ride, but then we come to this team, we get our first pole in China, didn't quite work out there. We got the pole in Monaco, got our first win. We go to Hungary, we win another Grand Prix. We, of course, have the engine failure debacle, where we had multiple engine failures, but 4 of them, it felt like, in sprint race combinations with the Grand Prix, and it felt like it wouldn't end. We had the big shunt in Monza. We came back to Brazil. We picked up our 3rd win of the season and of our career. Not going to be a win today, not even going to be a point today, unfortunately, but Max Verstappen, for the first time this season, is going to come through the final turn, and he will win in Abu Dhabi, and he continues his consecutive years with win streak alive. Alonso, for the final time in his career, rounds the final turn, 5th place in Abu Dhabi, a respectable day.
That was a nice night, guys. Thank you so much for the hard work. My time driving might be over, but my time in Formula 1 isn't.
What is Fernando alluding to? I think we're going to find out in the off-season episode about that one. We come through around the final turn, the final season. It wasn't quite meant to be. It didn't go our way. P11 here in Abu Dhabi.
Well, there it is, mate. The checkered flag comes down on the season. It might have been a tough season. We've definitely had some tough moments in it, but I hope there's been some times in there that you've enjoyed. I know there have been for me. And look, there's lots to learn, so hopefully we can go again, and next time we'll do better.
That's it then, they've taken the win here as we wrap up another fantastic Formula 1 season. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull chose a good time to get good again because they were able to keep Max Verstappen on for next season, but next season could be make or break for not only Verstappen at Red Bull, but maybe even his career here, as he, of course, has talked about not wanting to stick around in Formula 1 forever, so you never know what's going to happen, but he will be back next season with Red Bull, so will Sergio Perez, so I'll be interested to see how everything's going to shake out there at Red Bull next season as well. And over the offseason, what's the R&D going to look like, not only for Aston Martin, but for other teams as well? There's no regulation changes on the way. Now, we as a collective agreement with teams in Formula 1, it sounds like we will be doing a 16-race season, but stay tuned, in the next offseason episode we will cover that. Last season we didn't do an offseason episode, there wasn't many changes, but this time there will be an offseason episode because there was a lot of new things on the way, and I think you guys are going to thoroughly like what I have coming. There you see the final standings. Alonso P2 in his final season, Hamilton an 8-time world champion at the end of this season. We end up 4th, 156 points behind. Obviously, with all those engine failures, it just took us completely out of the mix. Hopefully, with this Honda partnership we have coming on the way and separating ourselves from Mercedes going into next season, there's some good things to come, but we'll have to wait and see. Stroll last in the points there. You can see we end up 2nd in the Constructors. That's going to wrap it up for our season here in Season 2 of this F1 23 Career Mode. I'll see you guys in the next one for the off-season. Have a great day, everybody.